A very good evening. You're watching Big Bang with me, Shruti. Bengaluru-born poet Vijay Seshadri has won the prestigious 2014 Pulitzer Prize in the Poet category for his collection of poems, Three Sections. The 98th annual Pulitzer Prizes in journalism, letters, drama and music were announced by Columbia University. Seshadri's Three Sections is a compelling collection of poems that examine human consciousness from birth to dementia. A Columbia University alumni, Seshadri would receive $10,000 reward. According to his biography on the Pulitzer website, he currently teaches poetry and non-fiction writing at a liberal arts college, Sarah Lawrence in New York. He was born in Bengaluru in 1954 and moved to the US at the age of 5 and grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Seshadri is the fifth person of Indian origin to bag the prestigious award, the first being Gobind Bihari Lal in 1937. Moving on, the polling percentage in Bengaluru has been abysmal for the last few elections, but this Lok Sabha election, few groups are going all out to ensure you don't have trouble reaching your polling booth. Are you looking for a ride to your polling booth? Do you want a ride on the election day? Well, this is possible now as a startup firm in Bengaluru has started a new carpooling initiative called Help Bangalore Vote to help Bengalurians vote. Under the initiative, people can log on to ridingo.com and register seeking a ride to your polling booth or even offer to give a ride to other people to your polling booth. Your voter ID details will be taken for security verification and you will be given information about the ride.
And that's why we are asking people to register their polling booth, and they can provide ride to people around them, especially within their apartments or community area, nearby area, help them go vote.
How does it work?
All you have to do is to come to the website called ridingo.com/elections2014, and there you can register with your name, mobile number and email address. Once you do that, we ask for your election voter's ID number so that we can verify whether this profile is right or not, for the security purpose, of course, and also to see if their polling booth is same. On receiving the details, all we do is that we match all the people who are falling on the same polling booth, and we inform that you can go with these many people, and then the last mile connections happens through phone.
Differently abled can get to booths easily. City-based NGO Astha, which is working for the differently abled, has tied up with a popular taxi service company to provide free taxi service to differently abled people on election day. People who want to avail this service have to log on to Astha. The service will ensure that differently abled people are picked up from their home and taken to the polling booth and dropped back home. A family member can also assist in the entire process. Apart from this, differently abled persons in Baswangudi can call on 9900499793 to avail taxi service, which will have a wheelchair facility and take you to the polling booth and be dropped back home.
Anybody who wants to avail the service, they can log into our website astha.in, and there is a special link available. By clicking on that link, they can register for them to avail the free service, taxi service, for them to go and vote. This is specifically for people with disability, and one person can accompany them along with them. So it is a free of cost. Other service what we are providing is in the assembly constituency of Baswangudi, we are making 4 taxis available with wheelchair, right? So anybody who wants to avail the facility, who are citizens of Baswangudi constituency, can call us on 99004 99793 on this number, and they need to SMS their address to us. So we will go pick them up, have them vote, get back them to their house.
Hopefully, these initiatives will ensure that Bengaluru this time will come in large numbers to vote and the voting percentage will be better compared to the last time. Harish Upadhyay, News9, Bengaluru. With the aggressive campaigning coming to an end, all preparations are for the polling day on April 17th. Well, if you're planning to go on a small holiday this weekend, be prepared to be disappointed.
With the election barely 48 hours away, Bengaluru can see the difference around the city. Moreover, This weekend will be 4 days long. So for the ones planning to visit their families outside Bengaluru or just go for a holiday with friends after casting your vote, here's some bad news. More than 7,000 buses meant for public transport have been demarcated for election duty. Out of 8,300 KSRTC buses, 3,150 will be used for election duty starting tomorrow. BMTC loses 1,200 buses from its fleet of 6,700 buses for the same. Apart from these, the Election Commission has demanded 2,780 buses meant for Northwest and Northeast state transports. All in all, a total of 7,130 buses have been hired for election duty this year. In addition to this, the bus routes of many other buses have been changed or diverted to accommodate the election day rush. But this message has not been clearly communicated to the common man, infuriating many. When asked about it though, the concerned authorities were consistent with their hollow responses.
By this proper planning, our operations will ensure that the disturbances to the general public will be minimum, and at the same time, since because of heavy rush due to the serial holidays, will ensure that wherever the buses are required, their additional buses will be deployed.
The transport authorities have stated that they will take measures to ensure there is little inconvenience as possible. Each bus ferries hundreds of commuters across Bengaluru in multiple trips every single day. 1,200 buses disappearing from the streets of Bengaluru for over 2 days will definitely cause a lot of inconvenience to thousands. Pavitra for News9, Bengaluru.
Massive fire broke out at a chemical factory in Pune today. The reason for the fire is yet to be ascertained, but it has led to a damage worth lakhs of rupees. The incident happened near the TVS showroom in Pune. 5 fire tenders were pressed into service and the flames were brought under control in a matter of minutes. 2 workers were injured in the incident. Well, upon first investigation, it is learned that the factory did not have the appropriate documents, including a no valid NOC. Therefore, no safety measures were put in place inside the factory.
In a second stage, Anglo, that laboratory has got a fire. So immediately we took 3 vehicles to the spot, fire spot. And as soon as we reached the spot, immediately our officer has requested once again to 2 more vehicles for extinguish the fire because the fire at in the chemical storage room. So immediately we took fire vehicles and we used our foam material for particular that. So because most of the materials what they store is alcohol contents. For that reason we used our foam materials and we took on the 1 hour to extinguish the fire. Ultimately, our officer has done a good work, staff and officers.
What is the reason for the
Most probably that the chemical reactions, most probably, because that is whatever the fire is there, it is only the laboratory, the content of the laboratory. So mostly it is chemicals things only. Mostly the chemically, wrongly, the mixed it, most probably. I don't know. I have to be know about that. I have to ask for the concerned people.
And moving on, the once resident-friendly Bengaluru is now turning into a fast-growing IT capital. The many lakes and once abundant green is the price we had to pay for this. The latest collateral damage to Bengaluru's development is the footpaths. Here's a report from Indiranagar.
Indiranagar, which was once considered to be the outskirts of Bengaluru, has now become one of the busiest areas in the fast-growing city. Flyovers, wide roads and huge buildings are a common sight, but there's one sad truth: the lack of footpaths. There is absolutely no safe place for pedestrians on roads like CMH Road and 100 Feet Road. These roads are home to numerous commercial complexes, food joints and bars. There is construction debris, garbage and even cattle occupying the areas meant for pedestrians. In most places, the footpaths are not even completely laid out, but in the areas where there is proper walking space, we see vehicles parked right across.
ಈಗ ಬೈಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಟ್ಪಾತಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಲ್ಸಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಓಡಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೇ ಥರ ನನಗೂ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 1-2 ಸಲ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಬೇರೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಗಾಡಿ ಈ ಥರ ಬರೋವಾಗ. ಬಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನೋಡಿ, ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೂ ಜಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಥರ ಗಾಡಿಗಳು ನಿಲ್ಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ತುಂಬ ನಿಲ್ಸಿದೆ, ನಾವು ರೋಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಡಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಗಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ನಾನೇನೋ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹುಡುಗ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ವಯಸ್ಸಾದವ್ರ ಕತೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು. ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸು ತುಂಬ ಈ ಕಡೆ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸು ಫುಟ್ಪಾತ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಕತೆ ಬಿಡ ಹಂಗೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು? ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಒಬ್ರು ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಓಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮುಗಿಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಇದೊಂಚೂರು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮಗೂ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಓಡಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ.
Despite metro reaching Indiranagar, it seems to have very little effect on the amount of traffic here. This, coupled with the non-existent footpaths, pedestrians who are seen walking by the edge of the road only hope they don't meet with an accident. When asked about it, the corporator blamed the commercial joints for the lack of parking space. She further stated that the under-construction buildings who are dumping material on the footpaths will face the consequences. Residents and commuters of Indiranagar were harried by the metro works all these months. Just when BMRCL seems to have packed up and left, the footpaths have fallen prey to unlawful citizens who use public spaces for parking. Add to that the authorities' apathy to garbage piles and stray cattle. Indiranagar is the unfortunate example of how our municipal authorities function. Maltesh for News9, Bengaluru.
Bangalore University claims to be one of the highest ranking universities in the country, but one can only wonder how quality education is imparted to young minds when the authorities are busy squabbling over a cabin.
Bangalore University has been at the heart of controversies affecting students so very often. From evaluation problems to leaked exam papers and even course fees, the university has never failed to amaze us. The latest controversy is regarding the cabin of the Special Officer Venugopal. Dr. K. Venugopal was appointed as the Special Officer for DVG Gyanavahini in December of 2012. But the Registrar of BU, Professor Sitama, has now written to the officer asking him to vacate the office. It has been stated that the Special Officer's cabin is ideally that of the BU Registrar, but at the time of his appointment, he was assigned this cabin. Dr. Venugopal has been operating from this office ever since. The registrar's letter asking him to vacate has come as a rude shock.
Register, whatever the government says, I will accept it. I have to follow whatever the government says. Registrar has written a letter, but then I will consult the Education Ministry and also the Department of Education in the government, and then we have to reply to the registrar.
Special Officer Venugopal has been directed to work here by the Higher Education Department. He has not appreciated the registrar's so-called order to vacate the office. But when asked about it, the registrar's response has come as yet another surprise.
The registrar's room was vacated and assigned to Mr. Venugopal as a cabin when he was appointed as Special Officer. Me being the registrar, I have no cabin to work from when I'm in town. Though the higher authorities have assigned the cabin to him, the very same authorities have asked me to direct him to vacate it. But Mr. Venugopal is now saying that since it was the higher authorities who assigned him the cabin, let them direct me to vacate it.
While the Special Officer states that the higher education authorities assigned him the cabin, the registrar claims that it was the same authorities who asked her to get him to vacate the cabin. The question that remains is whether Bangalore University, incapable of arranging another room to sort out the issue and focus on more important aspects like educating their students. Amrita Patil for News9, Bengaluru.